Okay guys, let me just tell you what I'm going to be uploading to your Show My Homework. Let me show you what we've done so far. I'm going to upload this sheet to you. If you remember that, most of you had this in class. It's quite hard to see to get all of it in one go. So that's the first question, Ruth leaving her office at 1 o'clock. So I just want you to recognise the sheet. If you haven't done this because you've been absent for any reason, you need to download it, you need to print it, and you need to do it. That's question 2. Again, answer directly on the paper. We'll go over these remotely. I'll do another video for this in due course, so we can mark. Again, many of you done question 3, but some of you have not. You need to do that. I've given you feedback and marking in class. Fourth question is Amy leaving home, and this is her storyline. And so answer it really, really carefully if you can. This is question 5, Dan's journey. Trying to get home for 11:30 to watch a TV programme. That's the punchline for that. Again, construct the distance time graph for that yourselves. This is Pat and Vicky going for a little run. Again, many of you have done this question. Again, what we got? We've got a conversion graph, kilometres per hour, miles per hour. That's important to do. And then we've got something about Tom leaving Calais at 10:45. The distance from Calais to Paris is 288 kilometres. So he proposes a question and he needs to sort out if he's correct. Please note it's 4 marks. A very easy conversion chart, kilometres to miles, and then a couple of questions to answer quite quickly. And like I said, for those in class, this is the first of the higher questions at the back of the foundation sheets. I just think the foundation introductory sheets are extremely useful to have, so if you've not done this, then do it. Remember that the unit of acceleration will be meters per second or meters per second squared in this context. That's worth doing. And all these are my answers, and we'll go over all this in due course. This is me doing my homework as well. That's the first sheet. The second sheet, which I gave to many of you who were here, is this one. This is the higher level acceleration sheet as well. I'll show you what it looks like. Again, many of you started that one. This is a difficult question involving Amina and Ben going on a cycle race, and the punchline is who won the race. Of course, there's 4 marks to show the working. Here, they'll be teaching on finding instantaneous acceleration versus average acceleration. That's what this is about right there. Again, I will do the worked paper when you've all done it and had a good attempt at that. This is a really, really easy question. Robin cycles round the track of 400 metres. You've got to show that it is exactly, that he finishes in exactly that many seconds, and he's got to go exactly once around the track, if I read it carefully. Yeah. Essentially work out the area using the trapezium area rule, and that's the distance, and that should come to bang on 400. This is a bit more difficult. It's a bit like the Amina and Ben question. This time Sanjay's involved. So that's go back to question 1 for that. Here we find the distance travelled by a snowboarder. Again, break it up into triangles, a trapezium, a little triangle, then break up how you want. Again, and that's the end of that. Please find the gradient at 70 seconds. And I'm just talking briefly through it. So go to 70 seconds on the scale, put a dot on the curve, which will be about here somewhere, put your ruler right against that, and do a gradient by doing a little right angle triangle, just the way I teach it and the way the Maths Watch people teach it as well. And that's the higher stuff done. I think we began to do some of the Maths Watch stuff. So I've also uploaded this question that you might remember. It's quite big, and if I go down the side it's still hard to read anyway. So I've uploaded that one. I know we did this in class. I've uploaded that one, and this is the actual worksheet that comes with the clip number 216. Very straightforward. It just repeats what's on the video anyway. It's brilliant. So again, please note clip number 216. You can see that again. And these are some extra questions not involved in distance and time, but it does involve gradients to a curve. It's great practice. It's really, really easy, but you need to practice it nevertheless. So that's one question on a cooling curve. What's happening? bread is cooling down, being placed in the freezer. Yeah, it's definitely going below 0, around about 10 degrees or so. We'll talk about that later. Next question. Yeah, this is Lucy's heart rate. Great question for those of you doing GCSE games or PE. Lucy, or no, it's Leroy, sorry, it's not Lucy. There you go. And the question is, what was his heart rate when he started to exercise? Well, we need to take a gradient at time 0 and see that you read it straight off, it's 70, isn't it? 70 beats per minute. And how many minutes of exercise did it take for him to reach his highest heart rate? Well, just track it across there, read it down. The main question's on the other side. By drawing a tangent, work out the increase in heart rate at time equals 4. So go back to the question, go time equals 4, there it is at the bottom, time equals 4. You draw a line to here, draw a lovely tangent at 4 seconds, do yourself a beautiful triangle, and it's difference in y over difference in x. I pretty much talked you through all of that, and that takes care of acceleration, distance and what have you, and I'll be in touch quite soon. Alright, so the initial homework for tomorrow's lesson, or classwork plus homework, will be making sure you do those sheets. It's essential you look at clip number 216 because she does great teaching on the Maths Watch, and she will in fact go over all of that. Again, when she says stop the video and have a go, you have a go as well. Yeah, don't go on to the worded problems because they don't come up at AQA at all. If there's going to be a worded problem to do with velocity and time, there'll be a graph just to help you out, okay? So I'm going to stop the video there. That's really by way of introduction. There's nothing to teach, you've just got to go through it. Remember, the initial sheet, the foundation sheet, there is the higher sheet, and there's the exam pro questions with a few little extras as well. That should be plenty for tomorrow's double lesson and also for homework, and by Wednesday I'll get hold of you again just to see where you are with that. Alright, so let me just reduce it down, shut down this video, and I'll be putting this on YouTube pretty much immediately.